Yep, yep. That toilet water's been sitting in that toilet for about 9 months. You know, it's fine. There's definitely a zombie in the backyard. I heard it doing zombie things back there. It can just stay there in all honesty, because I am not walking through all those trees. So, how bold am I feeling? Because what I'm debating is going on the main drag and turning on the sirens for a little bit. Well, probably honk the horn for a little bit first. Then turn the sirens on for a little bit, see what shakes out, kill it all. If things are going smoothly and we feel like we can keep going, we'll just drive the car up a little road. A little ways up the road with the sirens going. Rinse and repeat until we either have to, like, back off or whatever. Because that'll draw out all these zombies that are hiding in the trees, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess I also should probably... Nah, we'll hold in the siren things. We'll just keep pushing into the neighborhoods we haven't quite gotten into yet. So push into there, and that'll be our first thing. I'm going to drive past this zombie, and then we'll stop and kill the two. Yeah, so first we'll drive every road of Riverside, killing all zombies. Oh, you got friends. And once we've done that, then we'll start driving around with some sirens a little bit. When we stop seeing any meaningful number of zombies shake out, we'll call the city cleared. Probably got a good couple in-game days, though, before we get to that point. Let's take it off the road if we can. And that car up there has been our backup. I probably should check the battery, because that car's battery might be dead by now. So as a backup car, it might be useless. The way I could probably get around that problem is if I check in that battery's still good, taking the battery out and just shoving it in the trunk. Because batteries do gradually drain if you just leave them in. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to leave it. It's fine. Whatever. I'll probably never need it. Oh yeah, the erosion. Like, and it's also nice that the trees grow in and all that. My only complaint is the rate the trees grow is pretty aggressive. So from like a gameplay standpoint of not having to go really far to chop down trees, it's useful. But it can get super frustrating. Alright, well, I saw one zombie down there, looks like another one down there. We didn't have much shakeout for blasting the horn all that much. So I'm probably going to turn on the sirens. And I do have the audio, what is it, audio volume options or advanced audio options or whatever it is, advanced volume options, whatever it's called, it doesn't matter. That lets me turn up and down individual sounds. I have nothing turned up, but I do have stuff like the sirens and the horns. Sounds that can get really annoying or particularly loud and disruptive. I've turned most of those down, with the exception of I did not turn down the jump scare sound. Because, I mean, part of me feels like that's the point. But stuff that can be very tedious and annoying to like listen to for long periods of time, I've got those turned on. Alright, and we're actually reaching the point. I did mention I was probably going to bring up some of the changes that they were mentioning in Project Zomboid's Thursdoid, which is their little blog the dev team does, you know, on the occasional Thursday. Because I figured some of it might be interesting to people, it gives us something to talk about. But I wanted to wait till we had more than, you know, like, got that early crowd in versus, you know, right at the beginning when people are still finding their way in and all that. So they did release a new Thursdoid this past week. They did kind of a backpedal, which they addressed, which is that what they're going to be doing is they're going to be introducing animal husbandry in Build 42, which for the record, we're not talking the next patch that's coming, we're talking like the next major patch that's coming. So while we don't have an ETA, I would expect at least 3 or 6 months, maybe longer, you never know with these things, but probably not the very, very, very near term or anything. So in the meanwhile, we're still going to get like balance patches and performance patches and that kind of stuff for multiplayer and all that kind of nonsense. But the next major update that's like a feature update, they are going to be introducing animal husbandry. They're going to be doing a massive overhaul of crafting. Surprisingly, it's going to be introducing stuff like introducing to like medieval time stuff. They didn't say like full-on blacksmithing or anything. We're talking like leather working, all that kind of stuff. Because what they've said their goal is, they want it so I could literally take, you know, this car, drive out into the middle of the woods, never walk into a single building my entire playthrough, and still be able to like survive and build a base and do all those kinds of things. That you'd be able to do that entirely just through trading skills and off the land and all that kind of stuff. Which is pretty exciting. They did say, as one thing that might come with that, is it'll reach a point that right now you can infinitely repair generators. You can just keep fixing them forever and ever, and there's never a problem. That they would probably at that point start doing stuff like introducing diminishing returns to repairing generators, similar to how they have weapons. That gas might expire after a period of time, which has been brought up on this stream as well as many other streams a number of times, that, hey, you know, it doesn't matter how good a care you take, if you keep gas in a big tank under the ground, it's only going to last for a period of time before the gas separates and is no longer viable. So my assumption is they will introduce some type of alternate fuel, like we joked about, like bio oil or whatever, but, you know, we like process your extra veggies into some type of combustible fuel. Who knows? But yeah, so they were talking about all that. But yeah, that's pretty exciting, because at first they weren't going to do the animal husbandry thing. They're going to go for the AI. Well, I should take that back. First they were going to go for hunting and animal husbandry, and then they went, oh no, the animals are going to need some kind of AI to them, and that's really more tied into our like AI people update. So let's do the AI people update. Oh no, we want to do this crafting thing, and it's going to be impossible to like divorce the crafting thing from leather, so we're going to go back to the animal. And they did warn that even by animal standards, the first version of them are probably going to be pretty dumb. But they said that's fine, because like they're going to start with stuff like cows. I think they're moving towards doing the animal husbandry crafting update first, and then the NPCs they would circle back to. That's what I gathered from it. Don't take that as like law or anything, because, you know, that's me interpreting what they've written. That might not be the way they've intended it being interpreted, but still. So I'm going to go about 1 block forward. Then we're going to stop again. Give the zombies a chance to move towards us. Actually, I'm going to move farther forward because I really don't like this spot. I didn't expect the tree cover to be quite that good there. Yeah, my understanding, and again, this is me interpreting, so I could get it wrong, is that we are going to see animal husbandry, possibly very early hunting, like very, very incomplete, and then the new crafting system first. They also are going to have new professions, and one of the things that was interesting that they said they were going to introduce is they actually have a challenge map that they've been holding off on that's like years later. So, you know, 10 years after the zombie apocalypse, whatever. So, like, way, 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 way later, you know, if you had gas as turning as a mechanic, it's all gone now. You know, you're going to find very little in the way of usable stuff in the world. Like, just deterioration will be severe, all that kind of thing. But, they said they couldn't bring that out until the new crafting system because surviving in that would just... like, it wouldn't be a good fit. You're missing too many important things. But one of the things they talked about is the professions are getting a rework as well as a number of the traits. And part of that is they're like, oh yeah, you know, if we have this 10 years later thing, that you'd make a character 10 years after the zombie apocalypse started, you probably wouldn't have burger flipper as your profession. There's probably not many open and functional spiffos 10 years after the zombie apocalypse. So, like, that long back, you'd probably be considered a different profession by then. So they're talking about making it so you'll have actually different options of professions depending on how close to the zombie apocalypse outbreak you were. That the closer you are, the more like stuff like burger flipper and firefighter and stuff that would make sense with civilian, you know, civilization only beginning to crumble. But then way later they would introduce like scavenger and hunter and that as replacements for those that would have different bonuses that you get, but only if you do a start that's way later. I was like, that's a cool idea. So like one of the examples they gave was you'd get rid of veteran and you might get armed scavenger as like a replacement. Yep. They do not have bows and arrows or crossbows or anything like that in the game at the moment without mods. It is very heavily implied that there will be something of that nature when the update coming with hunting shows up. We don't know much in the way of details on what that's going to include, but it has been heavily implied that bows and arrows will probably be a thing. That said, they haven't gone into how they're going to balance it or any details on it or anything like that. And it has been something that I brought up. It's like, okay, well, bows and arrows being quote-unquote a silent ranged weapon need to have a pretty severe drawback, whether it's the arrows are heavy or, you know, making arrows is very labor intensive, or like the quiver, you can have a quiver or a backpack, or, you know, maybe it's very stamina using to use the bow because it's not like you're going to be using like a professionally made, you know, counterbalanced like recurve bow. You're just going to be using a bow that, you know, you have like string, a stick, and you're pulling really hard. Yeah, making a bow and arrow, something that I can pull in a string and make an arrow at least go 2-3 feet, probably not hard. Making a bow and arrow that I can pull the string and it puts the arrow where I want it with any type of force behind it, meaningful enough to be used as a weapon, that's a different story. But yeah, And I would actually like to see like bow and arrow making be their own skill, so like not part of carpentry, because honestly carpentry as a skill in the game right now feels pretty good. So I would say have like a separate like fletching skill. They also talked about, you know, they very specifically talked about actually making armor in the game, which was interesting. So they talked about having, you know, you'd have like leatherworking as one, so you get the leather to actually make some decent stuff, and then you could use leatherworking with metalworking to add metal plates to your leather armor. They talked about tailoring, being able to line it, which they didn't really go into details about what would be necessary about lining your armor, but sure. Maybe lining your armor allows you to have less of a movement penalty or something for wearing it. Yep, there, that's what we're expecting to see. That's actually what we want. We want zombies to roll in. Because we're here to kill zombies. But yeah, it's one of those things that's like, okay, you could absolutely do bows and arrows in this game and have them be an excellent and perfect match for the game style. My only fear is just not having a big enough drawback or penalty for them. Because my fear is if I can walk around with like 100 arrows, no big deal, still have my large backpack, you know, it's a silent ranged weapon that's even remotely usable, which it should be, because bows and arrows actually are very effective weapons. That's like, okay, well, all of their guns became completely meaningless in that scenario, because, you know, I can stand back from the horde, pick them off, maybe I have to back off a little bit so they don't see me from time to time, but yeah. I would certainly, like, using the aim skill, it's like, alright, I could see making aim for bows and arrows have to be particularly high to use them effectively. Because it's not just like a gun where you have to worry about, you know, bullet drop-off is a thing, but when you're talking about bullet drop-off, you know, of an arrow versus a, you know, a lead round, arrows practically fall out of the sky by comparison. So, you know, you're not just pointing the bow at something, you're kind of aiming above your target by a very large margin to try and arc the arrow into your target. Oh yeah, no, bow and arrows are really good even compared to guns for certain things, because the amount of mass behind an arrow that's fired is just a lot more mass. So they hold their momentum much better, which means when they hit their target they have a lot more force behind the hit. You know, when it comes to momentum carrying. So they have a higher chance of like penetrating through stuff like armor and all that. And granted, that's probably only an issue with like zombies wearing bulletproof vests and whatnot, but still, the idea is they can do a lot of damage. Oh yeah, the reload period on like a crossbow should be absolutely really high. Because again, we're not talking you've got some professional machine shop and everything to work with to like make a perfectly tuned, precise bow. You are slapping together stuff with a hand saw and a hammer and some nails. You know, it's gonna have a little bit of wiggle. It's gonna have a little bit of jank. It's not gonna be the best design. Like, even people who go, well, we're going to make this the old-timey way, they still have, you know, old-timey clamps and all that they put together to lock everything in place. They still have old-timey planes, which are still precision tools that we're not going to have, I don't think. Like, you're not going to have a proper lathe to turn your bow shafts. You're going to be, like, carving them with a knife. Yeah, so that's confirmation one. I can see the zombies very clearly over the top of the truck. Makes it way safer for me. But yeah, doing it this way, we're going to feel much, much better about the area being around us cleared, because we're pulling zombies from much, much farther away. I'm getting out of the car to eat my salad just in case, because you can't get in and out of the car while you're eating. Yep. And that could be one of the drawbacks, is maybe your bows and arrows durability drops much faster, because of course I would assume arrows in the game would be mostly reusable, and like maybe at very low Fletcher skill most of your arrows don't survive hitting their target because they're poorly made, and as you get better, you know, your arrows can be used 2, 3, 4 times, whatever. Because again, we're not talking like high quality fiberglass arrows. We're talking you found a stick, you took a knife, you chopped it up a little bit, you shoved some feathers in the back of it, and you called it an arrow. Well, with a sharpened stone tip. These fish are not lasting nearly as long as I'd hoped. I think we learned that lesson last time, and I think it did it last time. But that's okay, I might just poke my nose in the gas station and grab a bunch of, like, their potato chips in that. This also helps for like zombies that are stuck indoors and all that. It helps draw them out so you don't have to go in for them. I don't think I really need the lights, because I know these lights probably can bother with people's eyes. Just the actual audible siren's probably plenty. Yeah, that's fine. We have sirens. Good enough. Alright, think it's time to roll up a little farther. Here we go, one block at a time. That's basically the plan. That's already the last of my fish. Hey, Danny's us. I am doing great. We got our weeboos. We're just riding around Riverside, getting all the zombies to come to us versus us going to them. Oh, no, we're not worried about chat. This whole channel is just for me and you, man. You know that. Not teasing. Alright, let's back up versus being in the center of them, because the other advantage of doing it this way is we should see almost no zombies coming from the west at all, because that's where we're rolling around from with the siren. So we should be killing pretty much everything that way and working our way east. Those are ones to the north. So yeah. It makes it so we have a fairly predictable, this is the safe way to hunt. There will be exceptions where you'll have to do like wrought iron fences, force the zombies to come up behind us, that kind of thing. Like, that'll happen. But generally speaking, you should only have to worry about zombies, you know, north, east, and south, but not west. So this should always be my safe route this way. Alright, this looks like it might be the last one for this block. There's also a nice way of doing it because it means I get to sit down in the car each time I go to move it forward. So as we start exhausting ourselves, I can recover some stamina on the drive to the next block. There's usually a delay from the point I reach the block to the zombies actually hearing the sirens and getting to me. Yeah, definitely don't want to start with this plan when clearing a city, though. When we start clearing the way we did, get the numbers knocked down real low. And this is for all the stragglers in the other group, so we go about one block. I like going to the intersections, that way I have very easy to see routes. We've covered about half of the way to exertion, so it's not too bad. Yes, I have played a ton of Kenshi, and I absolutely adore the game Kenshi. I have tried to play it on stream, which lasts about half an hour, and went, oh my god, this has to be the worst thing to watch in the world. Like, even me playing this, looking at it, can see that this is super boring to watch. So I pivoted. I do very, very much love the game. It is a very, very difficult game to stream and have entertaining, just by the sheer amount of downtime there is. Like, we did a fight with, I can't remember if it was a goat or a bone wolf or whatever. You know, and we survived, but we got all messed up, so it's like, oh, now I just have to have my character basically, like, sit down and recover for 15-20 minutes while I'm fast forward. That said, there are people who do manage to stream it successfully, but it is a very short list. I mean, I could see trying to do Kenji for another game day or other games day and see how it does, because like I said, I've tried it once on stream and it was like, ooh, rough. But the channel has changed a lot since that point, so I wouldn't be entirely against giving it another go. That said, eek. It's just, the problem is there's just so much downtime. Oh yeah, I would say watching people build up their base and all that, as well as, you know, like watching them skill up and do ridiculous stuff, and the teaching is probably the biggest draws for Kenshi. The thing is, even to get to the point where you can like properly teach people stuff like how to build bases and all that, that's a number of hours into a run. It is one of those things that's like, okay, do we do the thing where we sit there and just mine copper to get ourselves our starting money or whatever? But yeah, it's like making money in Kenshi usually requires some type of grinding, or you do the thing where you cheese it by stealing stuff, which is fine. Like Kenshi is definitely a game that, if you know the strategies for doing certain stuff, you can trivialize certain things about the game. Like, money is something you can trivialize if you so choose. Like stealing a whole bunch of stuff, knowing where you can go to sell it at a good price, then turning around, like stealing and selling it back the other way, and just kind of ping-ponging. There's stuff you can do with that, as long as you're not getting caught and all that, which isn't too hard to avoid once you get some decent sneak skill. But like, upskilling almost always is the grind, like picking a fight with something that can't hit particularly hard, like when you have a very small group of hungry bandits, putting your character on defense and just waiting. Oh yeah, once you start getting up to really big groups, the way I've seen the people who successfully stream Kenshi is it's usually they'll have like one group who's doing all the base building, teching up and all that, and they'll have their other group that's like their kill squad or whatever, who's running around the map, killing stuff, doing all that. Right, we are at 8 o'clock in game. So rather than continuing the push right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop back to this gas station, see what food we can find in here, because I did not bring enough food for this run. And if we can find some decent food in there, then we can keep this party going. But for now, our character's going to need to stock up on food and then probably go to sleep here in a bit, because we don't want to be out fighting at night if we can help it. I mean, I get why Mongrel did it. Like, in this context, that was fine. But, I get why it did it, because that term can be used for negative reasons. But, yeah, so all I was saying is, I can't kill anyone, had said, I think one run I went to Mongrel, which is one of the cities in Kenshi, early on, and I got all my money by luring fog princes to the gate guards. But yeah, so that the name of the town can actually be used in a derogatory way as well. So I do get why, you know, not being able to know the context, that Automata was like, you.
Gotta dip out again, but always enjoy stopping by.
Thank you for the bits, Danny is DOS, and thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate both the bits and the tune-in. I do hope you have the great rest of your day. Alright, so I grabbed a bunch of food. None of it's particularly good food, but, you know, it's food. Yep. And not that anyone's doing it or anything right now, but just as a reminder, we do not test the limits of, you know, auto mod. Every time we do, it always ends up with people saying stuff that's, you know, going between bordering offensive to just actually offensive. And so I just nip it in the bud ahead of time saying, hey, don't test it. Lulu cashing in 10 push-ups. So give me 2 seconds. I want to get all the soda off of us and leave just the regular food for the moment. Hop in the car, pause, and do those push-ups. Oh, did we sleep already? I'm pretty sure we slept already, right? Like, I'm not... The prediction's over, right? We've already slept since the helicopter? I'm pretty sure we did. I don't remember. I'll enter the skills here in just a moment. Did we sleep since we had the helicopter roll through? I don't honestly remember. I feel like we did though. Yeah, so we're sitting at 6 fitness, about 6.5. 7 strength, about 7.5. Oh, right! And then I took a sleeping pill. So yes, we have finished the prediction. We did survive. Cool. But, so yeah, so we're at 7 strength. Doing good. Nibble Eyes. Alright, Nito Kajito dropping a weird flex. Going, I got all these points with my hard-earned winnings. And I'm just going to chuck them out there and show you that I don't even need these points. I got points for days. Weird flex is best flex. Oh yeah, Nimble is amazing. I've mentioned it a number of times on stream that in my opinion when it comes to combat, Nimble is like low-key the best combat skill ever. Okay, just catching up with chat. I can't kill anyone says, crazy how much of a difference a starting point in Nimble makes. I'm almost at the same progress with Nimble and just over 2-month character. It's not only that, a lot of the ones that you start with a point in Nimble, there are things that give you modifiers to you level certain stuff fast enough. So like if I get like one of the professions that has axe skill, I will level axe skill faster than other characters. I don't know if Nimble is one of those because I choose almost none of the other occupations, but if you had any increased modifier in Nimble, that would make a huge difference. But yeah, when we're looking at our combat skills, we're getting to that point, a whole bunch of them are starting to get more towards level 7 than level 6. Maintenance is getting pretty good progress towards level 8, in fact, as is Short Blade. So our combat skills are coming along real well. Carpentry is maxed. Cooking is getting real close to max. Tailoring is maxed. Farming is getting real high. Metalworking and mechanics are coming along. Electrical is coming along. We're never going to really work on first aid ever. We're still at the same aiming and reloading we've been at for probably like 6 months because I just haven't been using guns at all. And then our fishing and our foraging have gone up a little, but otherwise nothing really happening with the survival stuff. We are getting really close to hitting 37,000 zombies killed, so that's all going well. Oh, I have an extra water bottle there. I want to drop that in the truck when we get in. Do I plan to use guns when you make it to Louisville, or is the plan to melee there? I've been using guns when we have a bunch of ammo laying around. So it's not been like strategically using it. It's like this is the time to gun it's been, okay, I'm sitting on like 400 bullets. They're taking up a lot of space. Maybe we'll use some bullets for a while. I Can't Kill Anyone says, I also visited the golf course for the first time, got really lucky and found survivor houses. Excellent. Survivor House is a good place to find stuff. So realistically, we're probably not going to have that many kills in our entire playthrough be by guns.